G'day and welcome back to the channel. So if you or your child have ever struggled with knee pain that's been labelled growing pains, only to be told that it's Osgood-Schlatter disease and that you'll eventually grow out of it, then this video is for you. Osgood-Schlatter disease shouldn't be considered growing pains. Yes, growing has a role to play, but it's not the main role. Instead, we need to think of it as a mechanical issue that can be improved with the right perspective and exercises. And without this shift in perspective, you could be missing the most important pieces of the puzzle that can help you quickly conquer your Osgood-Schlatter disease. And I should know because I've been there before. So in today's video, I want to use my clinical experience as a physiotherapist to discuss with you what I wish I would have known when I was dealing with Osgood-Schlatter disease when I was younger. So let's get into it. So as mentioned, I am someone who had to deal with Osgood-Schlatter disease when I was younger. From at the age of 14 to 17, I consistently dealt with the effects of Osgood-Schlatter disease on both knees. And as you may know from your own experiences, having Osgood-Schlatter disease genuinely impacted my ability to play Australian rules football, basketball, and even just run around and play and be active. Like a lot of people, it didn't stop me from doing anything, but it was incredibly painful and uncomfortable while I was trying to do the things that I wanted to do. And while I was able to make it through that period with physiotherapy, massage, taping, I was given the same advice that I think is still given, that because this was a growing related issue, the symptoms associated with this would settle down once I stopped growing. And one of the frustrations that I had as a young athlete back then was that developing this as a 14, 15-year-old and potentially as a male who would be growing until they reached 18, 19, 20, 21, I really hated the idea that I had to put up with this for years and that it would just go away on its own. But knowing what I know now as a physiotherapist who has treated hundreds of people with Osgood-Schlatter disease, this should have taken me a number of weeks to get rid of, not a matter of years. So I want to pass on to you what I have learned about this, but most importantly, why we need to stop thinking about things like Osgood-Schlatter disease as growing pains. This perspective lacks the necessary context to help us understand A, why it actually developed, B, why it's not going away, and C, why people who are now adults and have officially stopped growing can still have ongoing knee pain. So the first thing to discuss here is this concept of growing pain. The current narrative and the way we explain this is that because you're growing, there are certain parts of your body that are a little bit more vulnerable while you're growing. And one of those is obviously the top of your shin bone at the bottom of your knee. And this narrative has almost become a fantastic excuse for a lot of pain because it does make sense. So many kids and young athletes do develop various aches and pains while they're growing. But what I really want to get across to you today is that it's not because you're growing. One of the main concepts that I try and promote as a physiotherapist is that normal things shouldn't cause abnormal things to happen. And in this instance, the normal thing is growing. Growing is normal. It's something that we all are programmed and wired to do. And developing knee pain is not normal. And it certainly doesn't explain why most people, including myself when I was younger, tend to have Osgood-Schlatter disease on one knee more than the other, or just on one knee full stop. If growing is the main reason why your knees become sore, why isn't your other side just as sore or sore at all? I'm happy to admit that we may not grow completely symmetrically as we grow, but because growing is normal, any subtle differences in the height that you may grow should still be considered normal because that's what is designed to happen. So again, if we're considering that growing is a piece of the puzzle, but it's normal, and we can accept that knee pain is not normal, there has to be something that we're missing. And this is why I love my job as a physiotherapist, because I can explore these concepts, I can treat people, see what works, see what doesn't work, and ultimately base everything on results. And what I will continue to push for is that we change our thinking about growing pains as being purely growing related, and instead think of Osgood-Schlatter disease and other growing pain related issues as mechanical dysfunction. The way that we need to look at Osgood-Schlatter disease is that growing isn't the cause, but growing can create vulnerabilities that are very good at being exposed by pre-existing or developing mechanical dysfunction. I'm talking stiffnesses, tightnesses, weaknesses, poor postures, poor mechanics. And if you are someone who is growing and someone who is also really active, doing lots of repetitious, explosive, dynamic activities in the form of sports or hobbies, those two things together are very good at exposing that hidden underlying mechanical dysfunction. And the biggest revelation that I've had as a physiotherapist who treats Osgood-Schlatter disease, and in hindsight reflects perfectly on my own case, is that the hidden cause of Osgood-Schlatter disease is quite often dysfunction in the mid to low back. Now, I completely understand that that may sound ridiculous or at least a little bit confusing because your back's here, your knee's all the way down here, and sometimes it's hard to make that connection. But as always, what I want to do in terms of basing this on results is I want to take you through an initial exercise that will help us understand what's going on with your lower back function, but it also doubles as a way to instantly treat that lower back dysfunction so that we can see if anything changes with your symptoms. So the first exercise that we're going to go through is taking a foam roller and looking for that hidden lower back dysfunction. But again, as I always try and promote on this channel, I do not want you to have to trust me, especially when some of these concepts may not seem completely intuitive to begin with. We need to base everything on results. And the best way to see results is to do a movement or an activity that you feel exacerbates or alerts you to how your knee pain currently feels. And with Osgood-Schlatter disease, that could be something as simple as going up and down stairs, doing some squats, doing some lunges, going for a run. Do the thing that you know consistently annoys your knee, and then grab your foam roller, and we want to go looking for stiffness and tightness from about the base of your rib cage down. So you can take that roller, we're going to place it arbitrarily just in an area through there. And what we're going to do is once you've found a particular spot, you can place your hands behind your head if you want to. I'm just going to get you to gently recline back over that roller. Again, we want you to gently rotate to one side and then rotate to the other. And what I want you to do is put some pressure through the spots that feel the stiffest, the tightest, the most restricted. They may not be tender. If you don't have back pain, you may not expect this to be painful. But we're looking for a sense of stiffness and restriction that's at the part of your spine that can influence a chain reaction of events either directly or indirectly to influence the function of your knee. Once you've found a spot, you can just hang out here and gently let the roller press in. You can drop your head and shoulders down, lift your hips up. You can also drop your hips down as well if you feel comfortable enough to do that. Just hang out here. Take a couple of gentle breaths, and once you've had enough of this spot, we can get you to move the roller down a little bit further or up a little bit higher, just looking for the main parts of your spine that feel stiff and tight to you. Again, just spend enough time here, letting the roller or the ball or the rolled up towel gently press into these stiff parts of your spine, gently and respectfully asking them to free up and release. And then once you've worked your way up and down that part of your spine, looking for anything that feels restricted, immediately stand up, immediately recheck the same movement or activity that reproduced your knee pain to see if anything meaningful has changed. And if the function of your lower back, the stiffnesses, the tightnesses, the restrictions, are having a chain reaction effect down to the function of your knee, and by freeing that up, if you feel an immediate improvement to some degree in your Osgood-Schlatter disease symptoms, you may have just found the root underlying cause of those symptoms. It's also important to mention that one of the classic signs of Osgood-Schlatter disease is the classic bump at the top of your shin or the top of your tibia. Aesthetically, this may never change. The presence of that bump is often a reaction that your body has to a change in the way that you're loading that part of your body. While growing, you may be unknowingly asking your body to lay down more bone to deal with that increase or change in load that goes through this area. So the positive thing is you do not need this bump to go away to feel better. It may just solidify into stronger bone, and like myself, you may have this for the rest of your life. But it in no way means you have to be painful. It's just a legacy and a reminder of something that was bubbling along behind the scenes that you didn't realize, turned into something, symptoms go away, but the visual aesthetic aspect may still remain. So once you've started to explore the role of your lower back on the function of your knee, the next thing that we want to go through is we want to go through an exercise that helps you free up some of your quadriceps and hip flexor tissue that may have become symptomatically tight as well, increasing the amount of tension that's going through the front of that knee. So from a mobility perspective, one really simple exercise that I would ask you to try is the couch stretch. And as you'll see in a second, the couch stretch is an amazing exercise at freeing up your quadricep muscles and your hip flexors at the same time. And for me as a physio, what I've found, these muscles being tight can very easily pull a lot of slack out of the system, increasing the resting tension on that part of your knee. So if we're trying to mobilize a stiff restricted spine to get to the potential root cause of your Osgood-Schlatter disease, we also want to make sure we're addressing some of the symptomatic muscular tightness that might be a part of this conversation as well. And with the couch stretch, what I'd like you to do is you can do this on a chair, but I'm going to do this up against the wall here. I want your knee to be back into the corner of a wall or a chair, your shin vertical, your foot pointing upwards. Now obviously if you have some knee pain at the moment, it may feel a little bit daunting to have your knee down on something, but the pressure from having your knee on the floor in this position is often above your knee. It's not directly onto where that Osgood-Schlatter disease bump tends to be. But from this position, we want you to keep your back relatively straight, and from your hip, just extend up as far as you feel comfortable. You should feel a very strong tightness down through the front of your leg, even the front of your hip. Depending on what you can do, doing this up on a chair is much easier. If you can't get completely vertical, it's completely fine to be a little bit more horizontal. We just want to find the version of this stretch that works best for you. But from here, I want you to come up as high as you feel comfortable. Once you've found that tightness, I'd like you to squeeze your bottom and then push your foot back into the surface or just tense up your quads. Hold this for 5 to 10 seconds. The idea being is that when you stop tensing, that tissue will give a little bit, then you should be able to come back a little bit further into the stretch than you could before repeating that process. And what we're doing here, again, is we're trying to free up some of the hidden restrictions above your knee to feed some slack back into your knee from above. And then once you have performed that and hopefully feel a little bit looser, then immediately recheck how those same activities feel again. So once you've had a good look at your lower back, and you've also hopefully found ways to feed some slack back into the knee, and also added strength to specific areas to help support better trunk and leg function, the final piece of the puzzle that I want to put in place through this video, and this is easily one of the main things that I wish I knew as a kid growing up, is that if you have found a distinct connection between your lower back function and your Osgood-Schlatter disease symptoms, because everything has to happen for a reason, there has to be a reason why this exact part of your back became a problem in the first place. And if you are a younger person watching this video, you may hate hearing this, but one of the main reasons that I find clinically that this part of the spine becomes dysfunctional is it's often just a hidden consequence of the boring shapes and postures that you put that part of your back into the most. In short, your posture matters. It is absolutely not the sexiest thing to talk about. Posture is boring, it's a pain in the butt, it's annoying. It's annoying as an adult, let alone as a younger person hearing about this kind of stuff. One of the traps that you may have as a younger individual is that it's hard for you to appreciate any long-term consequences down the track because you may not have any back pain, you may have no reason at all apart from this video to look at your back in any way, shape or form as you are at the moment. But one of the main things I've learned as a physiotherapist over the last 20 years and someone who's had a whole bunch of aches and pains is that so much of it is brought on initially by hidden spinal dysfunction. And by extension of that, the shapes and the postures that you get into on the couch watching TV, playing Xbox or PlayStation, online gaming, sitting around with your mates, relaxing, watching TV, traveling, sitting down studying, whatever it is, if you aren't paying attention to the position that you're putting that spine into and prioritizing a more global loading, this shape is one that you may need to prioritize to get your Osgood-Schlatter disease to go away as quickly as possible. If you are a parent watching this, without telling your son or daughter, the next time you see them on the couch watching TV, gaming, or even just lounging around doing whatever, sneakily take a look at where the hinges are going in their spine. If you see that they're caving in and slouching through that part of their lower back, try and improve their awareness and how meaningful they feel about these positions. Take the hinge out of your back so that you don't have to keep mobilizing and strengthening this part of your back against the habits you may have unknowingly accrued, even if you or they are young. And in my instance, I had horrible posture as a kid. Not only that, my sitting habits were disgusting. I used to sit all the way back into a chair, and instead of having my back against the back of the chair, I used to sink all the way down so that my back of my head was at the back of the chair, essentially kicking this constant hinge through my spine, which over time started to chip away at the health and function of a certain part of my lower back. And because I was growing and because I played a lot of sport, my knees were just the piece of the puzzle that couldn't tolerate that. Despite all the advice and the things that I tried when I was younger, no one talked to me about my back function and my postures, which essentially counteracted all the positive things I was doing, trying to get this to get better. So as always, I genuinely hope that that was helpful for you. Please let me know in the comments down below what you thought about that. If you found this video helpful, please consider leaving a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, but please consider becoming a member if you want extended versions of these videos. Your memberships genuinely help me do this while I'm working as a physiotherapist. But at the end of the day, let's move away from this concept of growing pains being just growing related. There's more to this that we can control and influence to get you out of pain much sooner than just waiting until you stop growing. But with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.